So the Yukon Gear Duragrip Posi traction differential should appeal to the new Edge and Fox owners out there looking to replace a worn out or busted factory or aftermarket differential in their Mustang and want to go with a trusted name like Yukon Gear. Price point's going to be right around $500 for this guy, and it is going to get a full 3 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter from me with a little bit more detail later on. Now before we go any further with this video, I just want to get this out of the way. Posi traction or Posi was a term originally coined by GM back in the day, and the name just kind of hung around to describe a certain kind of differential. And that differential, at least in this case, is something like this, a clutch-based differential that is going to help you put the power down to both wheels instead of those peg leg one wheel peels of an open style differential. Now, even though you guys are going to encounter a number of different options on the site and in the category, you're really going to boil down into 2 different categories. You have the Posi traction or Posi diffs, track locks, or even the Torsen style diffs, all going to perform in the relatively same manner with slightly different design cues. And then you have the lockers. These things are going to be more aggressive, typically only used in all-out drag race applications or even off-road use. They will be a little bit more noisy and they will be rough around the edges for a street car. Now you can technically add a spool into the mix for a third option, but we don't currently sell any for this particular gen, so we'll leave those out for this video. Now those Posis and track lock diffs are going to be pretty much the same in regards to design, as they're both clutch-based differentials, and they are going to be a little bit better suited for drag applications. The Torsen diff, on the other hand, is what's called a helical style differential. There's no clutches anywhere. In fact, they're all gear-based, and the general consensus is for those a little bit better suited for the road cars or even road race application, thanks to their high torque biasing capabilities. So now that I've punished you guys with my not so eloquent way of describing the different types of differentials, let's talk a little bit more about Yukon Gear. Now this is their Duragrip, it is their Posi option. Going to be a step below their Grizzly locker, also from Yukon Gear, in terms of overall aggressiveness. Now you can check out that Grizzly on the site as well if that's what you're interested in. The Duragrip, on the other hand, a much more streetable differential, going to be a smoother operation, definitely a lot quieter compared to the locker, and it's a solid choice for any street car, but you can still take it to the track, still take it to the strip, beat on the car, thrash this thing, and it should handle the abuse just fine. Now that Grizzly, the locker, on the other hand, it's gonna be a little bit more rough around the edges. And what I mean by that is it's gonna be noisier on the street. Turns are a little goofy with a locker for those who have experience with that sort of thing. It's just not what I would recommend for an all-out street car. Now, if you're building a drag car, great. Check out the locker, you'll definitely be happy. You can find that on the site. It will require 31 spline axles if you're interested, and it's definitely gonna cost you a couple $100 more than the Duragrip that we have here. But focusing in more on the Duragrip from a construction standpoint, again, this is a clutch-based differential, guys, meaning you're gonna find some composite clutches in here with the addition of 4 aggressive preload springs to help with the operation and send that power to both tires when needed. However, since it is a clutch-based differential, you can rebuild this thing when needed if those clutches do wear out on you after some years of abuse. Now, the case of this thing is made from nodular iron, very burly, as you might imagine, but the guts are actually made to take a beating as well. You're looking at forged steel gears with a special process to cut the teeth that makes them a bit stronger as well, which they can sometimes be a weak spot in these particular diffs, not so here with the Yukon Gear option. As far as your price point is concerned, well, high $400 mark is what you're looking at here, putting it in line with some of the Auburn stuff in addition to the Eaton diffs as well. Now, if you did want to step up to a Torsen or maybe even a locker, well, expect to spend a couple $100 more, as we did discuss earlier in the vid. One thing to consider, guys, if you're doing the differential, it's not a bad time to consider doing a new set of gears as well. If you've been thinking about it, you're gonna be in there, you're cracking open the pumpkin, you might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Obviously, that's going to increase the price, so you have to factor in your budget, but if you do decide to go with those new gears, just make sure you grab the necessary install and shim kit as well. And speaking of that install, I did decide to go full pull, 3 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter here, guys, anywhere from a couple of hours to a half a day in the shop or garage, depending on your expertise. Now, doing rear ends, gears, things like that, it's an art form, right? So if you're not really familiar with this kind of work, I would highly suggest taking this one to your local shop, because improper installation of a gear set or diff can lead to some issues down the road. So moral of the story here is, guys, if you don't know what you're doing, take it to the shop. If you do know what you're doing, well, then it's just another day in the garage for you. So wrapping things up, guys, if you're tired of those embarrassing one tire fires and you want to put that power down to both tires, you'll have to check out a Yukon gear Duragrip Posi, available here at AmericanMuscle.com.